Now that we've laid down the framework of the entire throwing program, we will take you through the two main phases in sequential order, the stretching out phase and the pull down phase. Keep in mind that this video will show you a condensed version of the throwing program lasting approximately 10 minutes. It is important to note that our players that are at the high school, college, or professional level will typically need at least 15 to 30 minutes on a normal long toss day. Even though our players' arms have already gone through a thorough arm circle and J-band workout, notice how they will still begin their most basic warm-up throws with a minimal amount of effort. In fact, as you watch the entire throwing program, notice how the players throw in a loose and relaxed manner. Like any other muscle group, we want the arm to stretch out slowly and progressively. This is also why they will throw the ball with arc rather than on a line as they move away from their throwing partner. We want the arm to get the benefit of stretching out at different angles. This is the safest way to open up the arm and best positions it for the second or more aggressive phase of our throwing program, the pull down or strengthening phase, which will be addressed in a moment. Let's watch now as the players gradually begin to move away from each other. Notice how loose and relaxed their arm action is, and that they are throwing the ball with arc rather than on a line from the onset. As the players begin to move away from each other, remember that there isn't a set amount of throws or a set amount of time before they move back. They're going to simply listen to their arm and allow it to dictate the pace. The easiest way to gauge when it is time to move back is simply by noticing that your ball is starting to push your partner back. Therefore, it's not unusual for you to stay at the same spot for a number of throws or move back as little as a couple of feet per throw. In either case, the arm will tell you when it's time to move back. Once our players get out to approximately 90 feet, you will notice that they will begin to implement a drill we call the hip drill. Because the feet are stationary, the hip drill provides a number of benefits including direction, alignment, and extension. Let's watch now as the players make a few throws in the hip drill. Once our players have taken the hip drill out to approximately 90 feet, we will then get their legs even more involved by implementing a crow hop. Crow hopping is a very important aspect of throwing because it takes pressure off of the arm by putting more emphasis on the legs. It is also helpful for loading, balance, momentum, and athleticism. We encourage you to incorporate a crow hop at around 90 feet at the latest and maintain this crow hop throughout the duration of the throwing program. We also suggest that you crow hop off of the back leg. So for right-handers, load off of the right leg, and left-handers off of the left leg. Here is a great example of how we prefer you crow hop. Let's watch now as our players begin to increase their distance beyond 90 feet. Again, keep in mind that there isn't a set amount of throws. Notice how loose and relaxed their arm action still is. Again, we tell our players to think stretch rather than throw as they work away from their partner. All that is really happening is that they are throwing with a little more arc and a little more effort as they increase their distance. Also notice that they are not only crow hopping off of their back leg, but their crow hop gets more athletic and aggressive the further out they get. Even as they begin to move into distances of 120 feet, 180 feet, 240 feet, and eventually their furthest throws for the day, they are still focusing on stretching their arms out as they move away from their throwing partner. Once the players feel that they have reached their maximum distance for the day, they are ready for the second part of our throwing program, the pull down or strengthening phase. Knowing when your arm has reached its maximum distance and when it's time to transition back in toward your throwing partner is based on any one of a number of signs. These signs include fatigue, the ball is no longer reaching your partner on a fly for a few throws in a row, direction, the ball is consistently going offline, mechanics, your mechanics are being significantly compromised or exaggerated, and instincts. You simply know instinctively that it's time to come in. Once our players have made their last throw in the stretching out phase and know that they are ready to come back in, they are ready for the pull down phase. Again, the pull down phase works as follows. Move back in toward your throwing partner approximately 10 feet per throw. Maintain the same effort of your furthest throw and be sure that your throws miss lower than higher. Remember, there isn't a set number of throws to make. We have found that 10-foot increments is gradual enough to help players make good adjustments both physically and mentally with the release point as they get closer to their partner. These two key principles of the pull-down phase, maintaining the effort of your furthest throw and missing lower than higher, promote a number of significant benefits. 1. It trains players how to accelerate rather than decelerate. 2. It teaches players how to get to know the release point because they have to make accurate throws from various points on the field. 3. It helps players learn how to use leverage and athleticism to their advantage because they have to translate the angle of throwing uphill into the angle of throwing downhill. And 4. It promotes mechanical repeatability because mechanics can more easily repeat when the effort behind the ball and the intention of where the ball is going are constants. It is also important to note that the arm is in the safest position possible for explosive throwing because it has been optimally warmed up and stretched out. As the players get into the final stages of the pull-downs, we begin to introduce what we call focal points. Focal points are extremely valuable because they give the mind an intention or somewhere specific to commit to. When the mind has a specific intention, throwing can get very consistent and repeatable, especially when your effort behind the ball is maintained.